whatever you wind up doing is exactly what you should be doing.
And I have not behaved one single day of my life. Not one day of my life have I behaved, and I am fine.
I need your help. I can't tell you what it is. You can never ask me about it later, and we're gonna hurt some people.
Whose car are we gonna take?
The Nikki Medoro Show live on YouTube starting at noon every single day, Monday through Friday. Of course, I was laughing because Nugget was trying to make an appearance on the show. Big show coming up. We're going to talk about the Avalanches, both in Tahoe and in Southern California. Some amazing pictures to show you there. Also, we'll get into a little bit of politics, a little bit of crazy from Kevin McCarthy to Marjorie Taylor Greene, who kind of tried to own Biden, but ended up just giving him major props. The DeSantis and Donald Trump gloves are coming off, and you just love to see it. And then Bill Maher says the quiet part out loud and admits that he weeds out critics from his audience. So that and so much more coming up. You may be wondering why I'm wearing my Matthew McConaughey shirt. Can you see it? Yeah. My Matthew McConaughey. It's the news about Salesforce that we'll get into a little bit and how much Salesforce is paying my man, Matthew McConaughey, who I say is worth every single penny. I will always be on his side. All right, but first, let's click that thumbs up button, please, to show some support for the show. We love it. I want to get my subscriber numbers up as well. They've been going up. They're definitely heading in the right direction, but I'd love to hit 4,000. So if you can spread the word about the show, you can find links actually on the show's website, NikkiMedoroShow.com. And you can share the links with your family and friends. You can grab their phones or their computer and make sure that they're subscribed. I just love to get to 4,000 within the month. I think we could do it. I just need your help to do it. So please spread the word on your online groups, on social media. Just help spread the word. I'd really appreciate it. And of course, you know, we really want to keep this show going. It's crunch time. I've been telling you about sponsorship opportunities that we do have available, but we need to keep consistent money into the show. You know, I don't want to get a new job. I want to do this. I want to be here for you Monday through Friday. So let's just keep growing our subscribers. And if you want to become part of the Medorable crew, consider please donating to our Patreon. Any amount that you can handle. It's a one payment a month. So whatever you want to contribute to the show, I would really appreciate it. Just go to NikkiMedoroShow.com and the Patreon link is right there. Thank you to everybody that's been donating to the PayPal as well. I do share that money with Kim as well. So, and it's just us. We're very bare bones here, trying to keep the show going and keeping our heads above water. So the PayPal email is NikkiMedoroShow@gmail.com. And then of course, I have some cute merchandise. Do I have it today? Yeah, I do. Here's the cup. Cheese. Yeah, so you can get cups. You can get a tote bag right there. There's the t-shirt. That's the extra large right there. We also have a bunch of hoodies for sale. Those actually have been selling a lot better than I thought they were just because of the price point. But there's the white one, which I'm liking more and more. I am definitely a black clothes wearer, but I really like the white. And it has the logo on the back. And then, of course, the air tower, similar to the one that you see right here. And then, of course, we do have it in black, which is one of my favorite colors. AirPods, tumblers for all you wine drinkers or people that don't like your cups to sweat. So it's all right there. And I just appreciate all of you so much for being here every single day. So check out ways to support us and share the show with your friends. Okay, so it has been nuts. I was turning on the morning news this morning, and they were talking about it is just historic cold. I think in San Francisco, they hadn't seen temperatures this cold since the 1800s, 18 something. It has been bitterly cold, and it's just storm after storm after storm. And in Tahoe, it was blizzard conditions. So it was so bad that an avalanche struck an apartment building, actually. I think it was 3 stories. in Olympic Valley near Palisades. I do have some pictures. I mean, these images are nuts. Here's one. And I do believe that that's the apartment complex, and that's 3 stories. So they're kind of buried right there. And it's just, and then look at this one. I mean, those people they're probably taller than I am. Look how high that snowbank is. It is insane. So yeah, they've been getting a lot of rain. And then there was another avalanche in Southern California. Well, first off, let me show you this video. Let's stay in Tahoe for just a second. I want to show you this one video. This is by the Palisades Tahoe Mountain Operations. Let me take down this picture real quick. And look at this. I mean, you want to talk about blizzard conditions. These are blizzard conditions. Look at that. You know, I always say hell is not hot. Hell is cold. Hell is so cold. So yeah, it's just been insane, the amount of powder. And what they were saying about the avalanche that hit near Palisades at that apartment building was that what happens is you get a lot of this light snow that falls down, and then it's inundated, and then the wind can hit it, and it's just not on a solid footing. The snow isn't, and it just goes. And I can't imagine. I think what are the tips, right? Grab onto something if you can. Okay. Also, if you are caught up in it, of course, try to keep your arms up as you're slowing down so that they could see you. Make that pocket of air. Nobody died, Neiman. Nobody died. Everybody was able to evacuate as quickly as possible, which was amazing. Can you imagine what that must have sounded like when they're like, yeah, you're gonna have to get the hell out. It's just insane. Kay in Santa Rosa says, hi, everyone. Be careful out there. I saw 5 accidents, including a car and a truck on the side on my short drive from Santa Rosa to Sonoma. Yeah, it's crazy out there. It is absolutely nuts. So be careful. And it wasn't the only avalanche down in Southern California. There was also an avalanche here. I want to show you this picture right here. Now, this one, though, this was at Mount Jacinto. And it is, look at this. Look at that. And let's welcome Kim McAllister to the show. I mean, Kim, the images that we're seeing of all of this snow, again, not just in Tahoe and the avalanche that happened at the apartment building there, but this was in Southern California. That's just frightening to be caught up in something like that.
Wow.
Too much snow. Way too much snow. But we love it. We want it. I mean, the season, they were saying in Lake Tahoe, it is going to be a very, very long skiing season. So good
amazing.
news. So good news. Yeah, good news for people that love the snow. I was saying before I brought you on, my hell is not hot. My hell is cold. So I'm not looking forward. You want to take me to the lodge so I can have a hot toddy and watch everyone freezing their ass out there. Done. I am there. I'll bring a book. I'll bring a cozy blanket. I'll be good to go. But I am not looking forward to being in any of that cold weather. Mount San Jacinto. Yeah, I'm sorry, Chris. I'm trying to pronounce it as best I can. So yeah, just stay safe out there. It's crazy. Yeah.
I have an announcement, and I don't know if you've made this announcement yet. Mark had a big thing today on his show. They've reached 10.2 thousand subscribers. So we passed the 10,000 mark.
Congratulations.
Big deal. But we have an equally as important thing happening here on the Nikki Medoro Show. I'm going to put the celebration balloons up.
I have not admitted to this.
This is the 100th episode that you and I have done on YouTube. 100 shows, Nikki, and I'm so happy to be here with you. This is super awesome.
I love you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for keeping track of all of that. And I'm not trying to bring down the vibe here. But I was having kind of a hard day yesterday. You and David had sent me the message about this being the 100th episode. And I was like, that's awesome. And I was about to put it in my phone because I put important dates.
Yeah.
Tomorrow was the day that I would have had 3 years at Station X
Oh, yeah.
doing my show.
Yeah.
And it sucks, man. It
Yeah.
sucks. But oh my God, it's I still get emotional about the whole damn thing. Because I love what we're creating here, and I know that we're starting right at the beginning, and it's a lot of work. It's more work than I ever thought. And oh my God, I'm not gonna cry.
But we need you, Andreas, and we're grateful.
Thank you
Yes.
so much. $100 from Andreas.
Really kind.
I want to continue doing this show for all of you, for people like Andreas. Let's give he gave another $20 and another $10 at the start of the show. Andreas, you have been such a huge support, and I just, doing 100 shows, it went like this, it seems like. And so I'm going to mark today. And then it's just so interesting that tomorrow would have been 3 years of doing my show at Station X. But you know what? Screw that. It's a new day.
We're on to better things. We're 100 episodes here in, right?
Episodes. I mean, it does kind of blow my mind that we've been doing 100 shows.
I know.
That is insane.
And Clark says 100 shows in TV. That's enough to get syndication and reruns. Yeah.
The great thing, Clark, about YouTube is I'm constantly in syndication. You can watch my show anytime you want to. Yeah. So, and congratulations to you, Kim. Obviously, we've been doing this together, and and I'm really excited to see how this show will grow and evolve and everything like that. Because, Station X, KGO. Iconic station back in the day. It's no more. Whatever's on the station, I don't listen to. It's not what it was. And I'm not trying to talk badly about them, but what it was is no longer. And so we have transitioned. And yes, Kim, it is the fastest 5 months ever. I'm just going to give shout outs as they come in. Nami, there it is. Thank you so much, Natmit, for the $20. You guys, this goes like, seriously, if you ever thought, if I donate to my favorite charity or if I give money to this person, what do they do with it? This literally keeps the show going. Yeah. And we, again, have sponsorship opportunities, as I had mentioned at the top of the show. Email the Nikki Medoro Show at gmail.com. Steve Moskowitz, I also want to give a big thank you to, because without him, this show never would have launched. It never would have launched. And, Steve's relationship to the show will always be that person that helped get it off the ground running. But we need new sponsors to keep it going. So if you know a small business, if you want to promote something in your life, even if you can only do it for a couple of weeks or a month, just to get the ball rolling for us, we would really truly appreciate it. And I really do appreciate. Oh, and Colors of the Wind with $10. Thank you so much. All of this.
Thank you for helping us celebrate 100 episodes. We appreciate
that. 100 episodes. I'm not one for anniversary, but that's a really special one because we created this.
Yeah. And Clark, we miss you too. Yeah.
We do miss you, Clark, honestly. And I love seeing Kim there as well. And Jim Slayton with a $10 donation. Thank you so much. And I just can't say it enough how much I appreciate, honestly, this community, because hundreds and hundreds of people listen outside of the live broadcast, but it is you guys. And if you guys want to be part of the live broadcast, those that listen after, just do the replay, you can, because these people right here are hilarious. They're thoughtful. They're engaging. You guys steer the conversation in ways that sometimes Kim and I could have never imagined, right? Yeah. Asking questions. And yes, it's not the same as traditional radio with the phones, but I love you guys. And I love the community that we've created here. Lee Kopp with $20, a major milestone. Yay, Nikki and Kim. I know. Absolutely. Yeah. Rosalie also with a $20 super sticker. You guys are amazing and being so generous. I don't know, Kim. I did know that it was the 100th episode. You told me. Yeah. I thank you for actually bringing it up, because
it was my husband that was keeping track. So that's cool. I mean, you put your head down, you get into it, you're doing the show, and you're not thinking about that stuff, right?
I think it's also hard. And I swear to God, it's really hard for me to kind of toot the horn. It's just really hard for me to, you would think it wouldn't be, but it's hard for me to sometimes even promote myself. Sometimes I'm like, yeah, when people ask me what I do, yowza with $10. Thank you so much. When people ask me what I do for a living, I will keep it up. Rick Cohen, thank you for the $20. I always am like, well, I used to be on KGL radio and now I have my own show. And I don't know why I feel like it's okay. You don't have to talk about it. And people are like, that's awesome. Where can I find it? And I always find other people kind of lifting me up way better than I ever do myself. Yeah. And so all these donations to the show, you guys, are just warming my heart so much. Thank you, Walter. Congratulations and aloha from Maui. Yeah, baby. I want to go to Hawaii so bad. That trip is coming up soon. I just can't wait. I love it all. I love you all. Yeah, I know. Like it's it's okay. I just want to say, like, Natmit, self-published book authors. We had our old colleague, Deborah Castaneda. She was on. She moved from, KGO Media TV over to self-publishing her own books. We had her on. I love self-promotion. That's another thing, guys. We do the Why Do You Do It segments. Throw those in. I love to talk to the people within our local community. What does my shirt say? Okay, I wore this shirt, Kim, because we still have to do the story that you sent me.
Okay,
about Matthew, my kind of hottie. He's right here and right here. It says, it'd be a lot cooler if you did. If anybody knows Dazed and Confused, there was a scene where Matthew McConaughey was asking for a joint, and the guy's like, I don't have one. He's like, it'd be a lot cooler if you did. It's just a fun saying. So that's what it says. Neiman I like this format better. Kim was also saying that she likes this format better because there's more interaction. Good. I'm glad you guys like it. I like it. We're learning. Yeah. We're building the plane as it goes. And we're gonna add different things. It takes time to incorporate different things. Obviously, from internet connections to lighting to setting up studios, all of this is coming and hopefully getting better and better and better. Indeed. All right. So thank you. This is our 100th show. So let's get to it. Let's do a little bit of politics, shall we? Kevin McCarthy is responding to people who are upset that he gave the January 6th tapes to Fox News. So he gave an interview to the Washington Post. And this is what he said. He said, all media outlets will eventually have the footage, but Tucker Carlson will receive the exclusive first because he's been seeking the footage. People like exclusives, and Tucker is someone that's been asking for it. So I let him come in and see it, but everyone is going to get it. It's almost like the press is jealous, And that's interesting because every person in the press works off exclusives on certain things. I think it's a bit different when you're giving it to Fox News and Tucker Carlson. Yep. I think that it's different when Tucker Carlson is caught up in the Dominion voting machine lawsuit. I think it's different when you've chosen to give an exclusive to a news channel that has admitted, yesterday we talked about this, Rupert Murdoch admitted.
It's not really a news channel.
It's not a news channel, that they lied. They made dubious claims.
That's not news. No.
And Kevin McCarthy should know better. He does know better. I think somebody on the View is saying that this was one of the things that he had to exchange to become House Speaker. How many more things did the guy give up as far as power, influence, I don't know, being a leader, in order to just have House Speaker on his resume? We'll never know. I do see Steve Moskowitz, so I want to get to him. But coming up after Steve, we'll talk about the repercussions of all of this. Yesterday, we were talking about, the repercussions of a Trump presidency, but also of a Kevin McCarthy speakership. And the fact that Marjorie Taylor Greene is now supposed to be taken seriously. And what she went off. She was invited. If you can believe this, she was invited to speak at an election integrity committee hearing, not on it. And I'm going to play you the video.
It's really quite laughable.
It's insane, but these are the consequences of everything like that. So we're going to get to that in just a moment, but I do not want to let our founding sponsor, Steve Moskowitz, wait any moment longer. And Steve, congratulations to you as well. Today, my friend, is our 100th show. And we couldn't have done it without you. So I just want to say
Yeah.
thank you
My
so much.
pleasure. And, let me tell you, I was talking with Mark before this. Both Mark and you are such great talents. You should be on the air. And, people just so benefit from that. And I say that as a viewer because I've always enjoyed listening, even when you were back on Station X.
Mhm.
And then when you got your own show on Station X. And now here you're very, very talented. And the world would be diminished if they couldn't see and hear you.
Oh, I love you, Steve. So I also love the fact that you've been with us from Station X all the way to here because of the value of your experience, of your tax knowledge. What is the most important thing, or what is the most important thing that people are questioning right now as we're getting ever closer to tax season?
There's a big situation and confusion on ERC because, people hear all about ERC and a lot of firms are advertising it, but what they're doing is they're just going in for the mass production way, the low hanging fruit. So what they're doing is they're doing the gross revenue test and say, did your gross revenue drop by a certain amount? Yes or no? If the answer is no, that's it. No ERC for you. Goodbye. And I've had clients that have heard us and they say, well, I was told by my CPA or some company I didn't qualify because my gross revenue didn't go down. I say, that's one of two ways to qualify. There's another way. It's just the other way is a lot more complicated, a lot more work for the professional. But we're willing to do the work. We're willing to spend the time with the client. And certainly not everybody qualifies, but a lot of people do. So if you've been turned down for ERC because somebody told you your gross revenue didn't go down enough, much like a physician, you really want to talk to us about a second opinion because there is something else you can do. And a lot of people have received a lot of money that were initially told you don't qualify because they do qualify under this facts and circumstances test.
Steve, also remind people about some important dates. You touched on this yesterday. If people out there have a small business,
Here it is.
There's another date you should know about.
First, can you believe it, Nikki? 2 months, and Kim, 2
No,
months are gone. 2 months gone over. Today's March the 1st, and everybody knows April 15th as the deadline for individual tax returns.
Yeah.
But March 15th is the deadline, just 2 weeks from now for corporations. So if you have a small corporation, you really want to talk to us because, yes, we do regular tax returns. That's something I get all the time. Steve, we know you for tax troubles and people representing people and getting audited or they can't pay their taxes or they haven't filed for years. But what about regular old tax returns where people have filed every year, they don't have any back taxes? Yes, but we not only prepare the returns, because, as a CPA before I was a tax attorney, but we don't prepare them in the usual way. We're looking not to move the numbers from one place to another, but instead tax planning, saving you money. There are still things we can do right now in 2023 and still deduct them off of 2022 tax return. And also you can amend tax returns. And a lot of times when we have a client for the first year, they'll say, Steve, was that deduction new this year? I'll say, no, it's been around for years. We'll actually go back and amend the last 3 years federal, 4 years California.
That's crazy. You have the knowledge to keep more money in people's pockets, which is the one thing they really want to do, and not get in trouble with the IRS. So give Steve a call. It's AAA Tax Deal, MoskowitzLLP.com. That's 888 Tax Deal, or MoskowitzLLP.com. Thank you, Steve. Love the participation. Talk later. All right. Yeah. Give Steve a call. AAA Tax Deal, MoskowitzLLP.com. Again, our founding sponsor. This is our 100th show. We couldn't have done it without Steve. And I just cannot state enough how this show would not exist without that man's support. So,
yeah, that's right. So
all right, let's get into crazy. Let's go to crazy town, shall we? So Marjorie Taylor freaking Greene. And I know. You're like, don't even do it. Don't even show it. But this is the reason why I want to show videos like this is because this, again, like I said before, is the consequence of having people like former President Donald Trump in the White House, which led to a bunch of crazies being elected because they went down that conspiracy rabbit hole. And now Kevin McCarthy is the Speaker of the freaking House and is allowing her to be on committees. So here she is. Again, she's at this election integrity. It's a House Election Integrity Caucus roundtable.
Oh, the irony.
Yes, she's going to be sitting down. I'm going to show you the video. She is sitting down next to Gabe Sterling. Now, Gabe Sterling is a Georgia election official who was vilified during the 2020 presidential election because, of course, they looked for the evidence of what she was talking about, didn't find any, and yet stupid MTG is still at what is supposed to be talking about integrity, still spouting these conspiracy theories. Okay, here's the video, and hold on to your hats, people. Oh, here we go.
Expertise on this issue. Gabe, I do not consider you an expert on this issue. As a matter of fact, I consider you a major problem. And here's why. My ex-husband showed up to vote in person in the 2020 general election and was told he already voted. And they said, you, Mr. Green, you have voted absentee ballot. He said, no, I haven't. I never requested one. I never filled one out. I never sent it in. And he had to sign a form surrendering a ballot he never voted on and never sent in order to vote in person. Now, that complaint got largely ignored. No one listened. We reported in the news. We reported it at Secretary of State's office, reported it constantly, and no one gave a shit about what happened to him. But guess what? It wasn't just him. There were many, many people that reported the same issue, not just in Floyd County, but all over the state. And I want to tell you something else. For you to say there were no dead voters in Georgia, there was thousands of dead voters in Georgia. And then the other thing is you have constantly shilled for this election, and I'm going to tell you, there was blatant outright fraud in the 2020 election, complete and total fraud, and you know it. You absolutely do know it. And I'm going to follow up with one more thing. Trump won Georgia. I know you don't like for me to say that, but I am convinced that he did. I'm born and raised in Georgia, lived there all my life, campaigned all over the state in the 2020 election. And to come in here for the Election Integrity Caucus and for you to be on the panel, it's actually insulting to election integrity, because I think you did a horrific job for the state of Georgia. And I can't believe that our tax dollars have to pay you to run our election system. You were formerly a Georgia state employee, and then you got to be a contractor during the election. Well, I think that was that. I don't know why that happened and no one else got picked, but somehow we ended up with you. But there were massive problems in the recount in Floyd County. They recovered over, I think it was over 2,000 votes for.
All right, and then she goes on and on to kind of basically regurgitate that stupid mockumentary 2000 Mules. That's what she's doing. Yeah. She's using her platform. And now, because she's on legitimate committees, we're supposed to listen to her nonsense. But she's just spewed a bunch of bull crap. And I will say this, Gabe Sterling, I love this clapback. He had a clapback on Twitter. Because if you noticed him right at the beginning, he was drinking a Coca-Cola. So here's the image of him. He's drinking that Coca-Cola as she's talking. And then he tweeted, I had a discussion with the Election Integrity Caucus. A big part of that is talking truthfully about the challenges in elections and identifying real issues. Some still deal in disproven conspiracies. It's a challenge we all face, but having a Coca-Cola makes everything better. So
do you feel like she knows she's lying? Yes. Or do you feel like she's really kind of drunk the Kool-Aid and believes all the crap that comes out of her mouth? Like she's gone to crazy town, as you say. Do you think that, she's like the Fox people who lie on purpose? They know they're lying, but like they're getting a paycheck, so they're just going to go for it? Yes. Or do you think she's legitimately cray-cray?
I mean, I do think she's legitimately cray-cray. I think that anybody that would do that, but I think she's self-serving. I think that it gets her attention. Mm-hmm. She obviously fell in line behind Kevin McCarthy. The 2024 election is going to speak volumes about her future and people like her in Congress. But she's insane. And I saw a bunch of your guys' comments regarding the math, which is just hilarious. So she was trying to own President Biden by saying the following. This is what she told the House of Representatives Homeland Security Committee hearing. Okay. She says, I want you to know that in 2020, there were 4,800 pounds of fentanyl seized by CBP, Customs Border Patrol. But in 2021, fiscal year 2021, it increased to 11,200 pounds of fentanyl. That is a direct result of Biden administration failure policies. Now here we are in today, fiscal year 2023, and we've already seized 12,500 pounds of fentanyl. The Biden administration is failing this country, blah, 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 by not protecting our border. And everyone's like, do you guys not understand what seized means? It means we're actually doing better because it's not making its way into the country. You can't stop people from trying, right? I mean, you can't stop people from trying to commit crimes or trying to do something bad. But if you catch them, that's actually good news, dumbass. Like, she just blows my mind at how stupid she is. And yeah, Jay Siller, she definitely needs medication. I don't know how this country is going to really heal from this. I will say this, though. One of the women, this Claudia woman, let me get her right name. Oh, I don't have the article. So the woman that was part of that election integrity roundtable, right? She invited Marjorie Taylor Greene because she's like, I hear this all the time. I do hear from people in Georgia, in conservative states, spouting these conspiracies. We need to find a way for people to trust in our elections again. And to that, I say this. They only don't trust the results of the races they lose. That's why I think the MTG is full of it.
That's right. You know, John writes this. Don't let her get you angry. She deserves pity and mental health care.
Well, until she's out of office, then no, I still will be angry at her, you know?
But the problem with that is she's hurting America.
Yes.
You know, because people that want to believe that, they're looking for that mouthpiece, and she's that person. They're looking to her, and she's giving them everything they want. That is not true. That hurts our country. And I think she's dangerous.
Yeah, I think she's dangerous too. I worry about what her and her ilk and the continual support of conspiracy theories is going to do. I do wonder. So, Kim, sometimes I feel like we're getting better, right? Like, oh, people are done believing in all that conspiracy BS. And then I drive down South 101 towards Morgan Hill and Gilroy, and I see the overpass of the Looney Tunes that still think that the election was stolen and love, you know, F Joe Biden and all that kind of crap. So when that goes away, when people get it through their thick heads that President Biden is President Biden and the election wasn't stolen, then I think as a nation, we're getting better. But until that happens, there's so many people that just don't understand that you're being manipulated.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Mindy says, why does she get to be in Congress when she's crazy? Because she was elected by the people in her district. And that is the most mind-boggling of it all.
And Walter says she won by large margins. Yes, because we don't understand Georgia. We don't understand her district. We don't understand the area in which she represents. That is true. That has to be true. If people that live there can look at Marjorie Taylor Greene and think, yep, that's who I want to represent us, they don't live in the same type of United States that we live in. And that still means we need to legislate with them in mind. They are American citizens. They may not see the world like we do.
Yeah. Still
the same world, though. So, yeah, I don't know what she's done for a district. What's Kevin McCarthy done for Bakersfield? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Not much, probably. Okay, we're going to do Kim's news. And when we come back, you love to see it, but the gloves are coming off between Trump and DeSantis. And it all began, well, at least an example of it is outside a DeSantis book signing. So I'll have some video of that. And I'm yeah, exactly. It's like, how are they going to play this out? So it's going to be really, really fun to see. Again, click that thumbs up button. It supports the show. I'll be giving some shout outs too, because you guys have been so generous on this, our 100th show on the Nikki Medoro Show. We really, really appreciate all of you. Now here's Kim with the news.
Now from around the world to up your street, the Nikki Medoro Show presents News Czar Kim McAllister.
Yeah, thank you for helping us celebrate 100 episodes here on the Nikki Medoro Show. I'm Kim McAllister, and this report is sponsored by tax attorney Steve Moskowitz at 888 Tax Deal. Some pretty serious news to tell you about today. If you haven't seen this story or heard about it yet, this happened in Greece. It was a head-on collision between two trains in central Greece that killed at least 36 people, left dozens more injured. The Greek fire service says a passenger train carrying more than 350 people collided with a freight train. That happened on Tuesday night, and it was near the city of Larissa, Greece. The Greek prime minister saying it was due to tragic human error. The station manager is now under arrest, and the Greek transport minister has resigned as well. So this is a horrible incident in Greece. It's almost like they knew that California was so fed up that we're going to start manufacturing our own insulin because of the hideous cost of it. But Eli Lilly is now announcing a 70% price cut on its most commonly prescribed insulin. The move comes as it and other insulin makers face ongoing criticism about the high prices driving some diabetics to ration this life-saving drug. Lilly says starting in May, it'll cap out-of-pocket insulin costs at $35 a month for people with insurance. That's huge. If that sticks and they keep doing that, that's a big thing for a lot of people. There are nonprofits in San Francisco that are now allowed to operate drug overdose prevention sites, or safe injection sites, right? As the city waits for a decision by the federal government to fund the programs. Right now, they are privately funded. That's San Francisco Mayor London Breed. Yesterday, the Board of Supervisors voted to approve those sites. And so now that's what we have in San Francisco underway. This is a case that is just ongoing and has really gripped, if not the attention of the world, at least the state of California. And now there are new developments in the Kristen Smart murder case unfolding in Salinas. The man convicted in October is now asking for a new trial just days before he was due to be sentenced next week. Paul Flores, questioned immediately after his Cal Poly classmate disappeared in 1996. He wasn't arrested until 25 years later. His lawyer also filed a motion to dismiss the charges. Smart's body, of course, has never been found. She was declared legally dead, though, in 2002. So we'll see if Paul Flores gets a new trial, if there's any merit to doing that. There's a North Carolina man who has been arrested, apparently after allegedly calling and threatening a school in eastern Pennsylvania because of a planned Satan Club event. Nikki and I have talked about Satan Club events before. If you're going to have a Christian event on campus, you've got to open it up to every other type of denomination and religion, right? But this 20-year-old man says he made the call after learning about the Satan Club after school event on Facebook. The threat forced the district to close all schools last Wednesday. And again, now this North Carolina man is under arrest. Elon Musk, let's get to him because we got a couple Elon Musk stories. First, Twitter rolling out a new policy to crack down on violent speech. Users of the social media platform can no longer threaten, incite, glorify, or express a desire for violence or harm. Serious infractions would result in a permanent suspension. Elon Musk also reportedly assembling a team of artificial intelligence experts to potentially build a platform to rival OpenAI's ChatGPT. According to a report by The Information, the project is still in its early stages, no timetables for product launches. The report goes on to indicate former Alphabet DeepMind AI standout Igor Babushkin has been tapped to lead that team. There's a new study out that talks a little bit about this sugar substitute. The study is from the Cleveland Clinic, shedding some light on how dangerous this sugar substitute may be. The sweetener is called erythritol. It's often found in diet products like the keto diet, especially. The study shows those who had a higher level of erythritol in their blood had twice the risk for stroke, blood clots, or death Yikes. While the sugar substitute is natural and can be found in things like grapes, mushrooms, and watermelon, the levels being placed in sweeteners like Truvia are really a lot higher. The clinic says follow-up studies need to be done. They add their observational studies show association, not causation.
Yeah, I mean, I dabbled in keto, and then I realized I can't do that crap. And so I knew a lot about the sugar alcohols and how you kind of subtract those from the carb, blah blah blah. Anyways, I tried like Truvia, didn't like the flavor of it at all. I'm a Splenda girl, and Splenda was this news article, and I know artificial sweeteners are not good for you. Like,
No.
but what I always remember about artificial sweeteners is they're obviously sweeter than sugar. And so what happens is if you try to use regular sugar again and get off the artificial sweeteners, you use more sugar because you want to get it to that sweetness level. And I find that to be true all the time. If I get a cup of coffee and there's no Splenda on the table, I'll just use regular sugar because I don't like the other sweeteners. And I feel like I'm putting so much sugar in my coffee. And that's not.
I feel like you're better off with regular sugar than all these chemicals.
I mean, probably. I have 2 cups of coffee maybe a day. And so, 2 Splendas. I don't know what kind of sweetener they use in my diet ginger beer. I'm assuming it's some sort of artificial sweetener since it's not regular ginger beer. That I just use, but I just top off my cocktail. I probably have an ounce, maybe 2 ounces of ginger beer per cocktail. So I really don't feel like it's that much. I'm not drinking diet soda all day.
Yeah.
So that artificial sweetener constantly. Eric says, I love Eric. You're like my mother. Just learn to drink your coffee black. That's my mom. My mom drinks she's like the easiest coffee person to get. Just black. Nothing in it. No milk, no sugar, no nothing. I like it and strong. My mother likes her coffee strong.
It's interesting when you eat this or consume any type of let me say personalize it. When I taste fake sugar substitutes or sugar substitutes, they have this kind of aftertaste to them that I just despise. I would rather drink an iced tea with no sugar or coffee with no sugar if I liked coffee or whatever it may be, have a sugar-free or just have the sugar than have the taste of that fake sugar. I don't like it.
A lot of people are mentioning monk fruit as an alternative. I've heard of that before. I've never tried it.
Honey.
Honey's one. I like honey only on certain things. I am not a honey in my tea type of person. I like, if you really want to know the truth, the only thing I consistently eat honey on is fried chicken.
Really?
Fried chicken and hot sauce. Fried chicken, hot sauce, and hot sauce and honey. Oh, bomb.
Interesting that you should mention fried chicken. That brings us to our next story. Yes. KFC is bringing back a fan favorite item after being off the menu for almost 10 years.
Oh my God.
They're legitimately trying to kill us. The KFC Double Down is returning for a limited time starting March 6th. The item replaces the bread in a typical sandwich and uses 2 fried chicken fillets as the bun.
I mean, part of me is like, that looks messy. And then I think, well, normally I'm eating chicken with my hands, so that's not that different. It is an idea. And what's in the middle of it?
Whatever was in your sandwich, they're just replacing the bun.
Cheese and
I would imagine some cheese, lettuce, meat. It looks like some tomato or something red sticking out. I don't know.
I bet it's chicken breast too, dry ass chicken. No, I'll pass on that. And I do love some fried chicken. I don't like KFC though. Not knocking it, not trying to tell people not to eat it. KFC is just not on my list of fried chicken places ever to go. The recent news, what was it, last month or something? They said they were getting rid of the popcorn chicken and other types of chicken. Yeah. If there was any chicken that I would get at KFC, it was the popcorn chicken. The rest of it, I don't think is that good.
Well, you have a little chicken with your sandwich is what we can tell you.
There you go.
About KFC. This report sponsored by tax attorney Steve Moskowitz for more than 30 years. Steve has sponsored the Nikki Medoro Show, not for more than 30 years, for 100 episodes.
100 episodes. There you go.
For more than 30 years, he's put his tax knowledge to work for individuals and for businesses. So if you need help with your taxes, please call Steve Moskowitz at 888-TAX-DEAL or moskowitzllp.com and show him the same support that he has shown us. We thank you for that. I'm Kim McAllister on the Nikki Medoro Show.
Yes, indeed. Thank you, Kim. Let me give some shout outs right now because it is our 100th show and you guys have been so generous. And
every time you say 100th show, I'm going to put the balloons up.
There you go. I like it. I like it. Okay. Lori above the bar. This donation is from a huge fan of the show, Daniel Dresser, in lieu of a Medoro mule. Wow. 100 shows. Thank you. Thank you. And Lori above the bar. Every time I talk about you, Lori, I have to show the pictures. So here's Lori and she's wearing the shirt. I go too quickly. There she is. There she is right there with Adam Copeland on our right, if you're looking at the picture. And there's significant others on the end. And of course, if you want the Medoro mule, there's the Red Jack Saloon. Yeah, the Red Jack Saloon is where you go get the Medoro mule. So, Lori, I was mentioning the ounces of the ginger beer to the club soda ratio. It is a splash. I think it's up to the bartender. That's what I always say. I'm like, I want it with club soda and ginger beer. You can half and half the club soda and ginger beer with the ounce and a half of vodka or bourbon. You just, whatever. If they want a little spicier, more ginger beer. If they don't want it spicy, it doesn't have to be. But thank you so much, Lori. And then Andreas has always been such a huge supporter from the very beginning as well of this show. I was the backup to Steve, he says. And you have been, Andreas. Yeah. $20. I'm going to do all of Andreas's right now. $20 from Andreas. And then let's go up. And then $100. $100 from Andreas. And then another 20. And then another 10. Andreas, I love you. Thank you so much. And you were absolutely right. You have been a huge supporter, just like Steve Moskowitz of the show. Daddy Chi with a $2 donation. Congratulations to Kim and Nikki for 100 shows. Thank you, Daddy Chi. $5 from Walter with an aloha. Rick with $20. Yowza with $10. I love you guys. We will keep up the conversation and the content. Lee says it's a major milestone, and it is with $20. Jim with $10. Color of the Wind, $10. Natmit with $20. I love you all. We can't do it without you. So thank you. Okay. Let's rub our hands together and get very excited for the implosion that is the Republican Party as they head towards the 2024 election. I don't know if they're really going to implode. I hope they do, because I don't know what their party really stands for, because they don't stand for truth. But apparently, Ron DeSantis, who everyone believes that is going to run for president against former President Donald Trump in 2024, he was at this Books A Million bookstore in Leesburg, Florida. And apparently a bunch of Trump supporters showed up, and they were wearing Trump, shirts and hats. And guess what happened? Security showed up. Here we go. Just watch.
Can you turn it up?
Because of what you're wearing? They told me to say anybody wearing Trump has to go right now. We should put during the sign. Okay, I'm sorry, guys. I have to call LPD now. That's fine. Thank you.
So if you didn't hear it, and it was a little quiet, he was basically saying, I've been told, and that was store security right there. So that wasn't the police, but they did actually call the police. Look at this. They called the police on these Trump supporters.
What were they there? What were they there for?
Well, obviously they were there to show support for Donald Trump, because Ron DeSantis, who was arguably going to be the opponent of former President Trump for the nomination, was there signing books.
Got it. Yeah.
So according to a poll released yesterday, Trump leads DeSantis, and I can't believe it, by 30 points. Are they really want Trump back? And I just don't get it. I don't understand the appeal. I mean, he's old. I'm just going to say he's old like Biden, right? It's not like he's younger. DeSantis is younger. They always talk about age. Oh, Biden's too old. So is Trump. DeSantis is younger. I don't want either. I'm not trying to promote one or the other. But yeah, so when the Trumpsters refused to leave the parking lot, a police captain was called by mall security to eject them from the property. He advised the Trump backers they were on private property and would have to move to the sidewalk, which is where the protesters moved. So, you know, I just think that they're obviously imploding. And you would think Ron DeSantis would try to woo them a little bit. You know what I mean? Like he would try to go out there and meet with them, you know? But I bet you the basket of deplorables that they are likely would have just yelled and screamed over DeSantis, which of course is the bed that DeSantis has been making. But 30 points, Kim, that's a lot of points. I know it's still so early, but I don't know why I'm surprised by the gap that it's so big. I feel like that's a really big gap.
Because you feel like, because no matter how often evidence is thrown in our face, we want to feel like people are reasonable and thoughtful. And it's shocking that after everything that happened, with just the cherry on top of the S Sunday being the January 6th riots, right, at the Capitol. It's shocking that anyone would want to throw our country back into that kind of chaos.
I know.
That we wouldn't want to move forward with someone else, someone fresh, someone who's able to put us on the right track. That we would want to immerse ourselves into that type of,
nonsense.
every day in the news, like it was Trump said this and Trump said that, and it was another offensive comment, and you had to report it because he's the president of the United States. So you've got to keep people aware of what he's saying, and it's important for people to know what the president is saying, even if it's a load of crap. So it's shocking to see that we could be going back to that. I think people shouldn't let their guard down. If you think, oh no, it'll never happen. We all thought it wouldn't happen the first time around. So
Exactly. I mean, and there's also this argument of why wouldn't DeSantis just want to be challenged? I mean, wasn't that the whole thing is, these super sensitive woke liberals can't handle any pushback, blah, blah, blah. You're kicking Trumpers off private property simply because they're out there when you yourself, DeSantis, were a Trumper. Like,
yeah,
it's really, really rich. But some people just can't handle criticism, Kim. Some people try to insulate themselves from what's really happening.
I don't know why it matters that people mention Trump. We've just mentioned him as well. Do you feel like we shouldn't talk about the history of our country and everything else? And I want to remind people in the chat, if you want to be here and talk about a dissenting opinion and respectfully say it, then great. But if you want to come and be a troll and stir up the pot, you're not welcome, and I will delete you.
Kim. Yeah, Kim will block your ass. So I'm usually too distracted with all these other windows open. So she's kind of in charge of doing all that. So did something happen? I guess we had a troll.
As a matter of fact, mutilating Blast is really just is done. He's done. I'm done.
I'm sorry.
That's it. I have the option. I could put you in a timeout for 5 minutes where you can chill and you can figure out, and again, it's not the dissenting opinion. Have a different opinion. Be a Trump supporter, but respectfully state, if you're going to come out here and Marjorie Taylor Greene it, then you're out. Done.
I love you. All right. That's the mom. She's in charge. Well, speaking of kind of insulating yourself from criticism, did you hear what Bill Maher admitted to CNN's Jake Tapper? And I'm bringing this up during this conversation because, again, when you are in a position of power, whether that's a politician or someone that has their own show that people listen to, I think it is important. Like, just like Kim said, it's okay to have dissenting opinions. It's okay to hear as long as people are speaking rationally, respectfully. If you're just going to yell and scream and be a Marjorie Taylor Greene, just kick rocks, right? So here, Jake Tapper was asking Bill Maher about being a comedian. And in this day and age, when people are some people would say are sensitive, right? Or you could also say not putting up with the racist, sexist, homophobic BS anymore. But you could decide what they mean. So here was the interview, and I just want to play you a little bit of a clip because this was quite the admission by Bill Maher. Let me make sure my volume's up. All right, here you go.
My studio audience at Real Time always booed me. Not for most of the show, but they were definitely more woke than I was, and definitely more sensitive. You know, I would ask all the time. I said, why? These are the people who they claim that they, flew all the way across the country. They waited for months to get tickets at this show. They're my fans. And then they come here and it's like, oh. There's something about when you get in public, you have to put on this act that you are somehow more of a moral person than you really are.
Now, I don't agree with that. Let me know in the comments. Do you think that if you paid tickets to see Bill Maher, then that means that you should always agree with everything that he says?
No.
Exactly. I mean, sometimes, Bill, people go because they want to challenge you, right? But then listen to what he admits has happened.
About 5 years ago, we did. I don't know what they did with the audience, but they got rid of the groaners, and it made my life so much better. And there are people who actually say to me now, "Oh, I miss the days when you used to fight with the audience." Well, maybe you do, but I don't.
Yeah.
You know, but I was never one of those comics who could just pretend, "Oh, I'm sorry, I must have made a mistake there." I'd be like, "No, I didn't make a mistake. There's something wrong with that joke. Stop groaning. Get the stick out of your ass." I must have said that 20 times on my show.
Yeah.
And then when the pandemic came around, first we didn't have any audience, then we shot here. And when we came back, we were allowed to have like half the audience because of social distancing. And again, they just weeded out the people who were groaning. And I would say in the last 3-4 years, I've never had that problem again, and it is such a pleasure. My audience who comes to my show now understands me. They think like me. They have open minds. They're not woke. They're generally liberal, but they can be conservative too. And we have a great time, and there's no groaning, and I love it.
I mean, he literally contradicted his own statement. I don't want to hear anyone that disagrees with me. So the people that come like me aren't woke. And it's an echo chamber you've created for yourself so that you feel like you're always right. Now, what I love about the comments in our community, Kim, is that people call me out all the time, right? Yeah. I mean, they may not agree with me. I get your emails, and I will say 99.9 of them are very respectful, even if you don't agree with me.
Right.
But oh, yeah, exactly, Joe. Open minds and think like me. It's like you can stay as long as you agree with me, and then I can just talk about how everybody is so sensitive. Like, what are you talking about, Bill Maher? You literally just admitted you're so sensitive.
That's no fun.
Is human, but it's just a bit rich, Bill.
I'll say this. Chris Holtgren, I often disagree with. Right?
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm.
I've had emails saying, you know, I think maybe he's a little trolling things up and stirring the pot up. But I've gone back and I've looked at Chris's statements in the chat room. And while what he says you may disagree with and you may not like it, it's often, always, that I've seen respectfully stated. So do I disagree with what he has to say? Yes. Is he welcome here to be part of the show? Absolutely. Because I want people to have different opinions and to be able to have a discussion. If we always agree about everything, then we never entertain different ideas and maybe further the discussion and get, you know, and get to a place where we might find some common ground or agreement. So please, Chris, be respectful and be here. I love it, but don't be like the other guy and cause some trouble, right?
But I'll also respond to his comment. We should vote all incumbents out every election cycle. If you could get something really done in one term, okay. I don't think one term. You said one term, Max. I don't think that that's enough time because Washington moves so slowly. I would say, depending on the length of the term, that would matter. I would say at least two. At least two. Similar to a presidency, right? You should have enough time to not only lay out your vision for whatever position you're in, whether it's your district, whether it's the country. You need time to lay it out. You need time to convince people. That's the problem. Get support from other lawmakers, convince constituents. And then the world changes, right? I'm sure that former President Donald Trump, he did many things I didn't agree with, had one vision for the rest of his presidency, and then COVID hit, right? And it just upends everything. and I'm not making excuses for him. That's just an example of how there are things that are within your control and there are things that are outside of your control. And it takes time when you're in politics to get stuff done. John says, no, we should not get rid of incumbents because we need people with long experience in Congress and legislatures. How long? How long is too long? Because I think also the longer you can be in something like Washington, the dirtier you have to get. Not because you want to, but because that's the system that you're working in.
That's right. And that's when you're the most successful, because that's when you are elevated to the top of committees, the chair positions. That's where, as they say, where all the bodies are buried. And maybe I've watched too much House of Cards episodes, but those are the people that can actually get stuff done for their constituents because they know the system.
Yeah, and I will say this. Joe writes in, things might move faster if politicians weren't spending their lives in office, lining their pockets, maybe 10 years max. I will also tell you this. I remember an interview that former President Barack Obama gave, and he was talking about how much time when he became a senator that, pardon me, I'm getting a pain in my side. I'm having a heart attack. No.
Are you okay?
How much time he had to spend fundraising, how much time they spend fundraising. And that's because freaking Citizens United, corporate, dark money, all of this stuff. It's you want to separate the politician from the money, and you can't. You can't, because it's literally the system, thanks to the U.S. Supreme Court making it that way. But I think not only lining their pockets and, being like the George Santoses of the world lying just to get into power, but also the fact that so much of their time is spent just trying to get money for your political party. And it sucks. And I think it's a waste of time. Absolutely. Okay. Well, speaking of money, we're coming up with okay. There are 6 college majors that if you have someone going to college, that they should avoid. This was done by the New York Federal Reserve, and they analyzed data from the median salaries of graduates in 2021. The data includes the salaries of full-time workers with a bachelor's degree. It excludes those currently enrolled in schools. And there's 2 types of salaries in this analysis. Early career, so between 22 and 27, right? So like just out of college, and mid-career, which is like between 35 and 45 years old. And the New York Federal Reserve found the 6 lowest paying majors. And I'll tell you what they are after Kim's news, and I want you guys to think about this in the comments and let me know. When you were considering your major, or as you counsel those that are considering choosing a major, what are the most important things you tell that person or that you considered? Was it solely the salary, or was it also, the return on investment emotionally? This does something to my life. I feel fulfilled doing X, Y, and Z job. And what should carry more weight, given the fact that people, obviously need to make money, but it also has to be a career or a job that they're spending most of their lives doing. So you guys tell me in the comments, how did you choose your major? Was it based on money? Was it based on love of whatever the major was? What was it? And what do you think college, even high school graduates should be considering when they're thinking about what they want to major in? All right. So put those in the comments. Let me know your guys' story on how you chose, if you went to college, if you chose the major, and then I'll share my story. And Kim, I want you to tell me, your kind of choice in career and how that path worked out for you, because, money makes the world go round oftentimes, but you also want some fulfillment in that life. All right. That's coming up right after Kim's news.
Now, from around the world to up your street, the Nikki Medoro Show presents News Czar Kim McAllister.
And this report sponsored by tax attorney Steve Moskowitz at 888 Tax Deal. It's a new report that says the Justice Department prosecutors and FBI agents were at odds over how exactly to remove the classified documents from former President Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate. The Washington Post reports prosecutors urged the FBI to carry out a surprise raid of the South Florida property, while FBI officials actually pushed back and proposed getting Trump's permission to search that property first. Prosecutors ultimately won the dispute. The FBI carried out the unprecedented raid of the president's home that happened in August, that according to the Washington Post. There's a new bill to ban TikTok, and it has passed through a House committee. Apparently, the legislation moved through the Republican-controlled panel along party lines with no Democratic votes. This comes as the social media company is rolling out new features to help limit the amount of time that kids can spend on the app. 1 hour, no more.
Yeah, right. There's a sentence that comes after that 1 hour, and you know what that sentence is? Kids can put in a password to extend it.
They have to have their parents' password. Yeah.
If a parent doesn't give a crap how long their kid was staying on TikTok anyway, they're going to give them the password.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, it's all for show, Kim. It's like, look what we're doing to protect the children. You're full of it.
Look at what we're doing to protect the children. Meanwhile, the children, no one is watching them as they go from website to website and TikTok video to TikTok video, unfortunately. So unfortunately, now I have to talk to you a little bit about cancer. Let me get a picture up here for you, because
picture of cancer. You have a picture of cancer?
Well, I have a picture of kind of.
Oh, okay.
I kind of have a picture of cancer. Because there's a rise in adults being diagnosed with colon and rectal cancers at younger ages. A report from the American Cancer Society shows 1 in 5 new cases are in someone younger than 55. Almost 30 years ago, only about 10% of cases were in those under 55. Why? Is it because our eating has changed? Is it because the environment's more toxic? What's happening in our digestive system that we are now getting cancer earlier? I don't know.
It's very concerning. Obviously, like, we're getting to that age where they want to schedule like proactive tests. There's nothing wrong with it. So they want like men, like, you got to get your, plumbing checked, both ends type of thing. So, and my husband, they voluntarily on their own sent my husband like not to be too graphic, like a stool test kit. Like, just shove your poop in here and send it back. He still hasn't done it because he's a man. I got to get on it now that I see this headline, though. Jesus. Yeah, honey, you got to go do the stool test thing because I want to make sure that you're not going to get cancer and die. Thanks.
Well, we already know about your husband that his part of his body is in a little jar on the nightstand of your room.
His vas deferens.
Yeah.
That's a little bit. It was a very important little bit, but yes, indeed.
It was a key little bit.
Have it. We've moved though, so I don't know if he knows where it is. Right? I bet it's in his like little box. But
did you move it? Did you lose it in the move?
No, I'm sure it's in a box somewhere.
Don't throw that away.
Oh God, no. Oh no, it's a memory.
Survive.
It's a memory. Jeez,
All right, let's move from cancer to SpaceX, where they say all systems are looking good for the launch of the Crew 6 mission from Florida. Liftoff from the Kennedy Space Center is set for a little afternoon tomorrow, Eastern Time. The weather forecast, 95% favorable for the launch, but teams are keeping an eye on conditions along what's described as the Dragon Crew capsule's ascent corridor. So we'll watch that. It's always exciting to see another space flight. Motorola is planning to roll out a new version of its iconic Razr phone. Remember those? The new version of the foldable Motorola Razr is expected to be released this year. Motorola revived the Razr brand in a foldable form in 2020. It was one of the first smartphones with a bendable screen. So look at that. Do you want one of those now? I mean, do you want the new version of that phone?
You know what I want? I want the, what was it? The Sidekick. Do you remember the Sidekick?
No.
So it was the phone that like it slid apart and then had a whole keyboard and like you could text that way.
Oh, I liked that phone. Yes, yeah. I had one of those. I didn't know it was called a Sidekick.
I think I'm right on that. I think it was those were cool phones back in the day.
I'm going to give you a picture of it. Hold on. Yeah, I had a yellow one.
Oh, I don't know. Well, no, I mean, I think I liked it, but I don't think I had one. But I remember I really liked it because I think the first kind of button text phone was a BlackBerry.
My problem with phones has always been fat fingering it. Like
Ah,
so without a real keyboard, it seems like I'm always like the buttons are too close together. It's always, and this was like the one phone where it was easier to
yeah.
write stuff. So
Yeah. And I like just the tactileness of it all, instead of
yeah.
just the screen. So yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, no more. We don't have that anymore. Say la vie, sucker. Sayonara. This
Sayonara,
report,
sucker.
this report sponsored by tax attorney Steve Moskowitz for more than 30 years. Steve has put his tax knowledge to work for individuals and for businesses. And if you need help with your taxes, please call Steve Moskowitz at 888-TAX-DEAL or moskowitzllp.com. And thank you for being here on the 100th episode of The Nikki Medoro Show. I'm Kim McAllister on The Nikki Medoro Show.
Yes, it is the 100th show. Thank you. I can't believe we made 100 shows. I really can't. It just went by so quickly. It really did. Thank you, Andreas, who has been so generous today on our 100th show. Another $10. Don't worry for Trump. I know. But I do, Andreas. It gave me heart palpitations thinking we might have another 4 years with this guy. And honestly, I am not putting it past him or these idiot voters. Wes with a $5 super sticker. Mwah. And a big kiss from me and Matthew, my kind of hottie. Lisa with $20 super sticker. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you guys for listening. I mean, I know some of you listen on Facebook, some of you listen on YouTube, some of you listen on the replay. We really do appreciate it. And again, while I have your attention, click that thumbs up. Did you click the thumbs up right below the screen? Please do that. It's really, really easy. Let's take it to $1,000. Yeah, buddy. $10 from Andreas. Thank you very much, my friend. Thank you. And again, share the show. I want to get our subscribers up. I feel like we can get it up to 4,000 at least this month. We're very close. So I'd love to get up to 4,000. I'd like to get to 10,000. I know Mark hit that milestone, and congratulations to Mark Thompson, of course, puts on an excellent show as well. And so do we. And thank you so much for being here on our 100th show. Okay. So what are, Kim McAllister, these 6 worst paying careers if you want a good paying job right out of college? Most of them, and I don't know if this is really going to surprise anybody. What?
Sorry to derail you.
Oh no.
But I truly must.
$11.17, $100. Wow.
$100 for 100 shows, right?
Thank you so much.
Beautiful.
Oh my God, thank you. And Jay Siller with another $5. My 100th show. Our 100th show, I just can't, we never even knew, but thank you so much, Eleven, for that $100.
Really generous and kind. Thank you.
It is. And you could definitely interrupt me anytime for $100 donations or any donations. This is a very special show, and I really do appreciate it. Now, speaking of money, though, most of the worst paying jobs, not surprisingly, which sucks, are in the social sciences and the liberal arts. Okay. Coming in at number 6 at the worst paying job is performing arts. The unemployment rate is 7.6%. The underemployment rate is 64%. And the median wage for early career people is simply $40,000.
And that probably includes, big time actors who have made it big, right? So when
most don't, though, that's the problem. You know what I mean?
But when you factor in all the gajillions of dollars that big movie stars make and big directors make and whatnot, and then you look at everyone else in the performing arts, how many people are, putting on shows at your local community theater or working, makeup at a Broadway show off-Broadway show in San Francisco or whatever it may be. And it's a hard living.
Yeah, and it really is. And yet we always tell people, I feel like when you go into the performing arts, it is your passion. So to talk somebody out of being in the performing arts, to get a And you could just hear parents, get a real job. That's a hard thing. Like, how do I give up on my career? I could have this big break. You never know. You hear those stories all the time of this famous actor. I was about to give up, and then I got that one role, and people hold on to that dream. Number 5 on the list, which, this one, it's not surprising. None of these are really surprising. But because it is a field in which everyone wants and to use and to take part in, it's leisure and hospitality. Like, how many people want to go on vacation? It requires people working the hotels. The median wage early in your career is $38,000. The unemployment rate is 5%. The underemployment rate is almost 59%. Leisure and hospitality graduates typically work in food and beverage, tourism, and hotels. And there's some 14 million people that are employed in this industry. And they expect it to grow, but it's not the highest paying job. The next, and then this one, I always wonder about, because we talk about mental health and everything in this country. Psychology. A psychology major early in their career only makes $37,400. That's the median wage for a psychology major.
Well, usually when you're early in your career, you have to do a certain number of hours, right, before you get your credential, I would imagine. I think that's the way it works. And I think that those hours are kind of like either volunteer hours or very low pay. And so you don't really start making money until later on. Well,
I mean, 65,000 is how much they're making mid-career, which in other parts of the country is probably a really good salary. Here, not so much. I mean, 65 grand isn't nothing. $65,000 a year is nothing to sneeze at. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is, plant that in a high cost of area like the Bay, and that's just not a lot of money. Let's see. The next one, that was number 4. Number 3, they skipped. I go from number 4 to number 2. Okay, on this list. Okay, number 2 is social services.
Yep.
So the median wage is $37,000, and at mid-career, only $52,000. So between 35 and 45, kind of that sweet spot in your career, you're only making $52,000 a year.
So I guess you could say you do that because it was a calling and a labor of love, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, going into social services, I mean, you have to really want to help people. That was number 3, obviously. They just misnumbered us. Number 2 was family and consumer sciences.
I don't know what that is.
So this is typically working in industries like education, management, and administration. So teachers, I would assume. Okay. Early career is $37,000. Mid-career, $60,000. So, and then the top one, and I think somebody may have said it in the comments, but I'm not going to find it right now. Number 1, theology and religion. What do you do that?
Unless you're that guy, Joel Osteen. What is that, mega church guy
who
drives a Ferrari?
Yeah, exactly. Just create your own church. The median wage early in the career is $36,000. At the mid-career level, it's only $52,000 as well. Yeah, they work in community and social service jobs. I would say this: if you want to go into something like theology, religion, history, English, I would say you should work on becoming a professor, right? Or something like that. Or combine it with something else. So like a lot of people that I know went into, because I'm a journalism major, they went into like political science and journalism, right? So they could be a journalist that talks about politics, that sort of thing. My minor, and I don't know if I called it a minor or an emphasis, was environmental science. I love environmental science. And so that's what I did. Eric Kennedy says theology major is a calling. Yeah, but it's not going to pay. And that's what we're talking about. Just the money. John says, if you major in theology, you probably shouldn't care about the money. Oh, my friend, if we can all be Joel Osteen and just make money off of it, right?
Right.
Huge in Japan says, my girlfriend's brother has a theology degree from Bethany, unemployed for years.
Oh, no. Ouch. Did you see the text we got about working in the symphony as well?
No.
Yeah, there was, let me scroll back. There's someone who has a friend that works in a symphony and only makes $40,000 a year.
And you would think with the price of tickets for the symphony, they'd be being paid more. but I know that there's a lot of overhead with the symphony, with everybody probably participating in the symphony. But okay, so how do you choose what you major in? That's my question. Like, Kim, we have children that are rapidly going through schooling.
Right.
What is the message that you are going to give your children on what they should do to consider, what they should consider when they're choosing a major?
I want them to, I don't want my kids to end up like other people I know where you're working for a paycheck. I want them to have joy, interest, and I know it's
cliche, but how the hell do you choose a major
and
with that?
Cheesy, but they say if you enjoy what you're doing, if you're passionate about what you're doing, you never work a day in your life. Right. Yeah. And so I think that kids know. I think kids already kind of are, feeling their way around what they're most interested in, where they gravitate toward. Is it a book on biology about, how animals reproduce? Is it whatever? Like, are you going to be a scientist? We go to the Monterey Aquarium. Are you interested in, could you sit and stare at the jellyfish for hours? Do you want to be a marine scientist? Or do you love to argue? Do you enjoy a good debate? Do you love to come at me with facts?
Pushing them into scientists and lawyers. So that's
Julia says she wants to be a lawyer. She says that's it. And the child, let me tell you, the child tells me at age 13 she wants a nose ring.
We had this conversation. Yes, I'm telling you, she can't fake one. But
the child is not getting a nose ring. Yeah, you
not a fake one either. No, get a fake one.
Well, yeah, she could fake it. That's fine, but it's not going to be holes poking in her face for real.
No.
At this point, I said, when you're old enough to decide that at 18, then you can do it. But until then, no holes in your face. Right. Well, you'll let me do on my ears. What's the difference? Well, you say my body, my choice, Mom. And so she's coming at me like, I swear she's got 20 different arguments. So maybe you figure, I'm good at making a case. I'm good at, at doing these things. Whatever it is, I just want them to have a life where they're fulfilled and where, yes, they're making money, but also they're joyful. They're happy when they go to work because they're doing their thing.
Yeah. Huge in Japan said, I let my major choose me. Started in administration of justice until I was seduced by clinical lab science. Ooh. Yeah. I love Kim. I chose radio in 6th grade. Clearly, I didn't choose a big paycheck. Yeah, I chose radio. I chose, it's funny that we're doing this topic because my son actually was talking to me about kind of choosing things because he has to choose his electives for next year. He has a ton of things to choose from. I mean, the electives choices are really cool that you have so many options. And one of them was computer science. I'm like, go into computer science. I'm like, everything has to do with computers. And he's like, well, I love my son. He's like, well, I'm doing digital art. He's like, I don't want a computer after computer. And I'm like, Dylan, that's like saying you don't want to go from your Nintendo Switch to your cell phone. I'm like, they're two different things of using the technology and learning it in totally different ways. I think I convinced him. I'm like, everything has to do with computers, man. I'm like,
yeah.
You might as well, not that I can't still learn. And I am learning and I love to learn different types of technology. But if I could learn it at his age, where it's, common knowledge, similar to in high school, for me, it was typing. You had to learn how to type. Mm-hmm. And so you're all lined up. You have like a board over the keyboard so you can't look. And I've always loved the fact that was a skill I actually learn and use every single day. So that's what I told him. And he's done it. But as far as choosing a major, the thing that I love about living in California and the reason why I'm so in love with the idea of free community college is it opens up so many other doors when you reduce the financial pressure to take those classes that you don't know you're going to like. And that's what I love about community college is that it's the price point is lower because otherwise your parents who are paying, let's say $60,000 a year are going to look at your ass when you're graduating high school and be like, you better be sure because every year you're in school, it's costing me X, Y, and Z. But if you don't have so much financial pressure, you can maybe dabble in something else and not feel like, oh, I'm wasting my time. This is kind of a throwaway class, those sorts of things. And so I pounded into my kids' heads, look, unless you know for sure, like this is a calling to you, Go to community college. I mean, we're saving for their college. It's not as if, but I'm like, you can also get your GE done and save me a buttload of money. But unless you really know it has to be this college right from the get-go, go have fun. Go take some fun classes. Go see if something calls to you.
That's right. Explore, dig in, and figure out what, if there's anything interesting there. But Jammer DC writes, I was a computer geek way back when, so I had a field I enjoyed, and also a field where you can make some decent money, right? There's why look for anything else? That said, you can still be in the right field in a crap job. That's true. Because it's not just about the field. It's about the atmosphere. Who's your supervisor? What do they expect of you? How do they treat you, right? So you need to choose the job that fits you. Well said, Jammer DC. Absolutely.
It's so very true. Chris writes in, become a registered nurse, and in 7 years you could be making doctor money. My mother, registered nurse, a Lamaze coach, she made buku bucks, did it for 40 freaking years. But I will tell you this, it was her calling. She was really sick as a kid. They never figured out what was wrong with her, but she was in and out of hospitals a lot as a kid. And that made her want to become a nurse because she was with the nurses all the time. And I will tell you, she's admitted, even though it was her total calling and she was made for it, really was, when she retired, she was done. So you can love your job, love your career, but at the same time, you can also be really looking forward to retirement. Walter says, I think that's the advice. Do what you love and it won't seem like work. You will probably end up being really good. Yeah. I mean, Kim, we love doing this. I mean, this is second nature to me. And yet
I knew from an early age, I knew in high school, I would hear people do news and I would think, I'm really interested in that. And I really think I could do that. And so then I started doing the daily bulletin at high school. People still will email me, go, I remember when I heard you on the radio. And I remember when you did the daily bulletin at, SoCal High School. Yeah. So I always knew, but it's interesting that you bring up classes, the elective classes, because Julia's looking at all of the classes for her first year of high school next year. And she's only allowed to take 2 electives, and only if she declines to take the class that's human sexuality for the first part and business, so personal finance for the second, which seems like it'd be a really great class. But if she takes that, that means she can't do 2 electives, and she wants to be in the band. And she wants to do student leadership and student government. There's also broadcast journalism, which seems really interesting to her as well. So there's all these classes.
She doesn't do everything the first year. She can say things.
You don't get enough. I don't think you get enough time to choose these electives. You have to pick one, and that's just not enough.
Yeah. So with Dylan, he was in band 1. He's learning to play the saxophone. Yeah. And he's fine at the beginning. And so but he's done now. He's like, I don't want to take. I'm like, no, you're right at the beginning. Like now you'll get better. And so he could choose up to 8 electives. And so band is in there. Yeah. So there's year long and then there's semester long. And so band is a year-long elective. So if he chooses band, then he only gets 2 on the semester side. Yeah. And so he doesn't like that because he's like, I can try all these different things. But I made him put down band. I'm like, come on, man. Like, you have to. And I totally talked to my son like that. I'm like, come on, man. I was like, you learned how to play the saxophone. You learned to play saxophone. I was like, now it's going to get to the fun part because it won't be as difficult. Yeah. You're going to miss the fun part because you just stopped right here. So hopefully he gets banned. I know he's going to look at me and he's gonna be like, but I think he's going to thank me later for it. So, but there's also at their middle school, they have a broadcast, like the morning bulletin, TV. So it's TV. And so he signed up for that. He signed up for so many different things. So it's a crapshoot. You don't know what you're going to get. So we'll see.
So in this school, language is also considered an elective.
Yeah.
So I don't feel like you get enough chance to really get in there and look. So Julia wants to take language during the summer at the local junior college. So she gets her language out of the way that way.
Okay.
That's a class that is required. Right. So that she'll be able to open it up to other fun stuff that she can do.
Well, speaking of things that happen in school, and I have to throw the story in, I've been wanting to talk to you about this story. And so you're going to have to forgive me if you did it already when I was gone last weekend, because I think this came out a little while ago. So have you heard of, what is her name? Katrina Cole. Now, Katrina Cole is a senior at Morrill High School in little tiny Morrill, Nebraska.
Okay.
Okay. And so she was going to go to state championships for cheerleading. If anyone doesn't know,
I read this last night. This is awesome.
Kim McAllister
Yeah.
is a former cheerleader. My daughter does
Yeah.
cheerleading, so Kim geeks out on my kid, right?
Mhm,
Okay.
yeah.
So apparently, if you haven't heard, so the day before or something, she finds out from her coach that her teammates quit. They weren't going to compete in the state competition. There was only like 4 of them. A very tiny town.
And they were freshmen, and she's a senior.
Yes. And so
And
she
you-
wanted to compete.
You wonder though, well, why'd they quit?
I know. I kept trying to find that
Was
out. And I don't
she's
think-
such an overbearing, you know what, that the rest of her squad is like, I'm sorry, we're done. That's what I wondered when I read the story. I'm like,
look
'cause
at
it's like-
snarky chick over here. Look at the former cheerleader coming out. You hear? She's like, I bet you the team captain was just a total bitch, and that's why the girl quit. Well, here she is. So she ended up. Her coach is like, we'll go to the state competition. We'll have food, drinks. We'll have a good time. She's like, I want to compete. So here she is, all by her lonesome. There she is, doing the entire routine by herself. I mean, does that look good? I mean, that looks pretty good to me. No, look at
So that's a little a toe touch that's a little off kilter there. I think she could really kick up that right foot a little more. But okay.
Yeah, so there she is all by herself.
Yeah.
Doing the cheer. See, now you made it all snarky. I thought you were going to love her. And now you're saying, nah, she was probably the problem.
Well, I don't know. That's the thing. But, you wonder why the rest of the squad walked away and left her by herself, because that's not how you treat a teammate. So what happened there? One wonders. But I say good on her. If she wanted to compete and she didn't care that she was by herself, or she didn't, if they want to walk away and you don't want to let it affect you, then go get it, girlfriend.
Yeah, exactly. Well, apparently, according to People magazine, the other cheerleaders quit the team for personal reasons.
Yeah.
There were only 4 of them. I don't know what that could have been, but despite being by herself, she was not judged as the same as the other competitors, but still finished 8th out of 12. So, and that's the highest the team has placed in 3 years. So maybe the other part of the team was the problem, Kim. I mean, there you go.
Oh,
so, I don't know. I liked it. See, look, Kim had a heart. I saw that last night.
You teared up on that? I see. My first thought was,
look
what
at her.
kind of,
look at her. See,
what kind of bee?
Mean girl coming out over here. Look at her.
She must have been hell on wheels to, directing them. Here's what you do. You're not good enough. We're never going to make competition. Or maybe she's the nicest girl in the world.
Yeah. I mean, other
and
people
her teammates were just like, you know what? We thought we wanted to be cheerleaders, but we decided no, thank you.
Yeah.
Not
no,
likely.
I mean, my daughter's on a cheerleading squad. It's not through school. It's through a separate private cheerleading. And they have their first, since my daughter was so sick, this weekend is her first competition. Now it's in Sacramento. How long do you think the cheer is versus how much time I'm going to spend on the road?
Cheer's going to take you about 4 minutes and 30 seconds. Drive is going to take you about 4 hours.
5 hours, probably. But you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of all the time I was a dancer when I grew up, and all of the things that my parents drove me to and thankfully for us with dance, like I did tap, jazz, ballet, lyrical, and then performance, because we were like professional, right? So that's 5 different, sometimes more than that, dances that I was in. So that's worth it. One cheer. I'm not complaining. I'm so excited. I really am. I'm just kidding. I'm so excited.
When you go to a cheerleading competition, you will feel this excitement like you've never seen. These girls are bouncing off the walls. When you talk about spirit, they have it. They're just like, they're excited for each other. They're cheering for each other. Walking into a cheerleading competition, you just feel the buzz in the room.
All right.
I want to put up something that Lori Gross said, because I don't want to let it go ignored and have her think that I didn't see it. It says, I'm happy for you both that you're able to do what you love. However, you are both in a position of privilege, and that you have husbands with incomes that can support you following your passion. Not everyone has that.
You're absolutely correct.
You think she's correct. I would say she's partially correct. I will say this. There will be... No, because here's why.
Okay.
Maybe for a time, right? and maybe for a bit to see if we can turn this show into something that we can call a career and that is successful. But I think both Nikki and I are not single income households. We can't not
I can't
afford.
survive. Yeah, I can't survive.
We're
without-
not going to survive unless we find a way to
yeah,
monetize the show. And it may be that we need to get quote unquote real jobs that don't bring us joy, right? It may be that we have to do that. I would say, Lori, that you are making kind of an assumption there that that our husbands make so much money that we can just afford to kick back and have fun together on the YouTube. And
Even the bonbons on the YouTube.
No. This is called the Bay Area, and you have to have, unless someone is really leading a life of privilege, you really need to have two incomes to meet mortgages and make it work here. However, I will say to you that during the layoff, when all the manila envelopes were passed out at the conference table at Station X, there were people that were single there that didn't have a cushion or didn't have someone who could, it's not as severe a situation. I will say that, but it isn't like we can't afford not to work.
Right.
So
exactly. And I'm so glad that you clarified that, because on one hand, yes, my husband has always been one of my biggest supporters. When I got my first real, it was like my first, I had to move for radio job. He did not hesitate. I mean, we had just gotten married. We were living it up. I mean, we were fine. He had a decent job. I had a decent job, but I hit the ceiling, in moving up or anything. And I could still see him. I go across the kitchen. I could still see it. I'm like, what if we did just go to Sacramento? Because I was offered a job.
Yeah.
He's like, let's go. Didn't even hesitate. Yeah. And when I was laid off at Station X, he tried to make me laugh, and he's always been a huge supporter of this show. Now, is it stressful? Yeah, it is. We're not making enough money with the show yet. To kind of that this is the only thing I could do, and I don't need to worry about it. But no, we definitely need two incomes, real incomes to do this. And that's why, even though, we always ask about Patreon and all those sorts of things, right? It is crowdfunded. You guys are a major source of the money that we make. And that we can help pay bills and our mortgages and our rent and everything like that. And so that's why we say thank you so much. And Andreas, again, a guardian angel over here, $50 donation. You're being lazy, Kim. You're on the right track. Being rich conservatives and take their money. Bring in rich conservatives and take their money. Yeah. Have any rich conservatives watching the show that want to just, funnel tons of money to us? I would love that. But yeah, absolutely. And and Lori goes on to say you have some breathing room to try this. Right. That's all I'm saying.
That's true.
And that's what I do agree with you. And and being a two income, even though we're not making what we made at Station X, helps. I can't imagine being single. I know that John Daly was on Mark Thompson's show forever. Yeah. And I'm sure he wanted to continue doing it. But at some point, you need health insurance. You need and I get my health insurance through my husband. I always have. It was never tied to Station X. And so that was a huge weight. So all of these things, you're absolutely correct, Lori, is that we do have that support system, and not everybody does have that. And you're right. You're right.
My husband and I had a discussion yesterday about how much money do I need to earn to keep us afloat? How much money do I, and and where's the point where I might have to go get a normal paying job with a paycheck and whatever, that you can count on. So the things that to consider, but yeah, I do agree that there was a little bit of breathing room there. Absolutely.
Look at Andreas's comment. Tell your husbands to work harder. Believe me, my husband works his butt
I don't think that's going over very well. No. Did you see 1117's earlier comment? The husbands must be angels. What are you trying to say, 1117?
No, but I will say this. Honestly, my husband, obviously we have, I know David, Kim's husband. He has been a huge support of this show on the back end. He's been amazing.
He puts the podcasts up every day.
Yes,
so
he's
we like that.
And
so, maintains the website and all that stuff.
All those. If I would say put something up, he does it because I don't have the technical background to do it. So there's been support. And then my husband, he's been picking up extra hours. My husband works overtime almost every single day. He works weekends and he works. I'm not knocking people that sit behind a desk every day. My husband does not sit behind a desk. He's in HVAC. He's in service HVAC. So he works his butt going up and down, stairs and big machinery and all kinds of stuff. So when my husband works extra hours, he is physically working extra hours. And I want to look after him. I want him around till I die, then after that, he can hop in my coffin and we'll just go together.
And plus, I mean, it's and thank you, Wes, for the $10.
Wes,
so
I
nice.
love you. And
Not
Andres,
quite Andres
I love you.
level,
I
he
love
says,
you.
but happy to help. So nice.
Oh, yes.
We
Any
appreciate
amount.
it.
I love you guys. Thank you. On this 100th show, it's epic.
Mo Direct says, Nikki, your husband sounds incredible. He's the one who eliminated the traffic jam that you were stuck in while you were traveling. Yeah.
He walked his ass down to that. No, if you guys can understand how, I know, again, for those that don't know my history with my husband, I've known my husband since I was a kid. Like I was 16, 17 years old. So he knows me. And I am just livid when we were at near Castaic and Magic Mountain. And they're not, I'm like, you get your butt down there and you do it. And not that he like listens to me all the time, but he also knew like, she's not going to let this go. I love my husband. Like he's just the best. Check your HVAC filters. Yeah.
But I feel like when I think about, my husband putting up the podcast every day or maintaining the website, I feel like what he's saying is, I support you trying this.
Right. Exactly.
I support you guys trying to do this, whatever I can do to help. But yesterday we had a discussion about, how much money I need, how much money I need to pull in order for us to pay the PG&E bill. Right. And so is it the same as a single person who's worried about the mortgage and the PG&E bill, and the cost of feeding your kids and everything else? It's not the same, Lori, but there's still concern there. There's still need there for us to figure out this out and make it successful. So
exactly.
If you would like to sponsor the Nikki Medoro Show, woohoo, please do. You can email us at thenikkimedoroshow.com and talk about new sponsorship opportunities, because we have them. You can sponsor a newscast, and we would love to give you something for your business as well. We would love to help your business grow. So let's have the successful relationship, and email us if you'd like to sponsor a segment of the show, a feature of the show, like the Friday Food segment, or a newscast. And we are happy to work with you and make that happen. So then maybe you feel like, it's you're not only donating, but you're also getting something as well, not more than just the show in return, that, you're able to feature your business.
Thomas, we haven't gotten to the OnlyFans desperation yet. For sure. Not there yet. But yeah, absolutely. And we have so many sponsorship ways. If you, interviews, we could put logos on our show while we do your sponsorship. There's a bunch of ways we can work together. So just reach out. And, but again, you guys have been so generous today as well. And so this is another way that you guys can support the show. And I'm actually, we have the same conversations, Kim, with our husbands, and that's just the way that it is. 11, yes, I love a nice coffee date to talk about finances. Isn't it just so romantic? It is. Well, it's also tax season, so you got to go over all the lines. And
see, you're so good at finance and like not being too spendy and everything. And honestly, after like the 5th, Laura's going to think this is privileged again, but this is just the way my brain works. After about the 5th number is lobbed at me, my eyes start to glaze over and roll back into my head. And I'm like, just tell me what you need. Just tell me what you need me to do.
Harry, I love you. $50 and congrats on 100 shows. Celebrate with the Medoro Mules. Done. You don't have to ask me twice to drink Medoro Mules. I love them. I love them a little too much. You gotta watch it. They're really delicious when they hit your lips. But yeah, I think I'm really good at budgeting our home finances. The business aspect of this show is way over my head. And that's why I'm bringing in professionals to do it. Because in all honesty, the business aspect of this show is the hardest part. Talking to Kim every day, like one of my good friends, and talking to you guys in the chat room.
Yeah.
It's like heaven to me, like I love doing this. But it's the technical aspect that is the business, all that just drives me nuts.
Lori says she wasn't trying to denigrate our efforts or sacrifice. And we hear you. No, we're taking your comment seriously. No offense.
Oh, yeah, no. And honestly, we understand what you're saying, Lori. Absolutely.
And we partially agree with you. She says having your husband's health insurance is huge. Agree. You have some options. I'm thinking of OnlyFans as I find out about disability and retirement.
Feet are huge apparently. And it's okay. You know what? I am not going to yuck the OnlyFans yum.
Yeah.
So I'll be honest. I was like, what do I have to do really? That doesn't. No, I'm not there yet. But yeah, it's Look, people make some good money with their
Yeah.
feet. I'm just going to tell you that, Lori.
We're happy to have you here, Lori, and
Exactly.
I'm grateful to have you as a listener, and I hope your financial picture improves. And I know you've been going through health stuff too, so I hope you're
Yes.
feeling better. Yeah.
And West asks, are you independent or is it linked with Mark's too? No, Mark and I are totally two separate entities. We
Right.
support each other 110%.
Right.
So obviously, I give big props to Mark for starting us off. But his is his business, this is my business, and yeah, and obviously Kim does both, and she does an awesome job for both of our shows. Karen's $20. I love you with the super
Thank
sticker.
you.
Thank you, Karen,
Yeah.
so much. How much would you pay? How much would you pay for this, Eric? Right
Pay
there.
for what? Are you going to show me your feet? What?
No, I could do a bare elbow. I don't think that's cheating. I don't know if you can make an elbow sexy. Can you
Oh,
make
there's
an elbow
somebody
sexy?
out there who's like, ooh, Nikki. There's somebody who has an elbow
Probably
fetish.
like lotion it up better or something, and make it all greasy and shiny or something.
Lori has really cute feet. Sweet.
Oh, that's done.
See?
I mean, I've gone down that rabbit hole online. Lori,
Use
I've
what the
gone
Lord
down
gave you.
the feet rabbit hole, and you don't have to have cute feet. Apparently, you really don't. I'm just letting you know. There
Really?
are options for people with, people like, believe me, you think of a kink, it exists out there, Kim. So I'm sure
When you
there's one for
type into
elbows.
OnlyFans, flat-footed, large boat foot with yellow nails. Like, I don't know.
You
Think
can
of
do
the
like a
grossest
cartoon.
foot.
You know, I mean, you can do all kinds of funny things like to get people to talk. So yeah, thank you so much, Jim. He bumped up
Oh.
his Patreon from $5 to $20.
Mwah.
Happy, thank you. And again, the NikkiMedoroShow.com is where the link is to become a Medorable, as I love to call you guys,
Yeah.
and become a monthly Patreon subscriber. It is our 100th show, and I love you guys. You really have been doing this. Kim, I know you have some news. Is there any headlines? No.
At this point, there's
Good.
a few minutes left. So
Because I want to get into this other topic, especially because I put it up there. And I asked, this is totally not related. Food. I was supposed to go maybe visit that place that I was talking to about yesterday for the Friday food segment that only serves it twice a month.
Yeah.
I ran out of time this morning and I was really stressing because they don't open until 11.
Okay.
Here's some hints. They open at 11 and they're a half an hour away. So even if I got there at I was like, if I get there at 10:45, I've never been to this place before. So I don't know how quick I'm going to get my food.
Okay.
And I didn't want to rush back and miss the beginning of my show.
Right.
So I may go for dinner or I may have to try to do it the second time they do it this month. I'm going to keep my fingers crossed. I might do it for dinner. We'll see. But the reason why I'm bringing up food, do you think fast food is family friendly? Should fast food
definitely easy? And if moms are looking for easy, or parents, or I should say in general, are looking for easy, then yeah.
Okay. Now there's two stories that have to do with fast food and family friendliness. The first one is homophobic chicken Chick-fil-A. Okay. So there's a Pennsylvania Chick-fil-A that has said on its Facebook page that it will no longer allow unaccompanied children inside its location. Okay. This is what it says. We contemplated long and hard before posting this, but decided it was time. Often on Saturdays and days when schools are off, we have school-age children visiting the restaurant without their parents. Usually, these children and teens are dropped off for several hours at a local bounce park, and groups of them then walk over to our restaurant. Mm-hmm. While we love being a community restaurant and serving guests of all ages, some issues need to be addressed. Yeah. One is volume. The other is mistreatment of property. Food and trash are often thrown around. Disrespect of employees. They're laughed at, made fun of, treated cruelly. Yeah. Unsafe behaviors of walking through the parking lot and drive-through lanes. And so, this is it. Due to the numerous extreme behaviors of many of your peers, we must make a blanket rule covering anyone under the age of 16.
Oh, wow. Okay.
16.
That's
no
surprising.
longer allowed by yourself inside a Chick-fil-A. And what they say is, they say we're not blaming the parents. Children and teens are learning to navigate the world free from supervision and often push boundaries. We simply cannot let them push those boundaries anymore at our restaurant. We're a family-friendly restaurant.
Well, and family-friendly doesn't mean we're your babysitter, right? I mean, there's no kids that are going to listen to the Chick-fil-A Not that I'm a fan of Chick-fil-A, but there's no one who's going to walk in who works there and is going to be able to discipline kids. Kids aren't going to listen to someone who says, "Could you please stop doing that?"
Right.
Right. So I feel like if this is such a problem, that they have the right and responsibility to protect their establishment and say, listen, we're a family friendly restaurant, but that doesn't mean we're, drop off and go. We're not your local babysitting service.
Yeah, Mindy says people that work at McDonald's are not the children's chaperone.
Right.
I agree. My question, and while I agree with everything Kim just said, the fact that this Chick-fil-A was saying, we understand that kids are navigating this world, and so they need to be put into situations, learn repercussions. Is this an appropriate response, or should it be on a case-by-case basis? What if I'm raising a very respectful 16-year-old? Or 15-year-old.
I would say I have a 13-year-old daughter, and if she and her friends went in, it would be respectful. Totally respectful. As a matter of fact, after every opening night performance, all the theater kids go to In-N-Out. Oh, and the big thing is that they're without parents, and it's great. They have a great time, and I would say, it gives the local In-N-Out business, and they enjoy themselves and learn how to be, by themselves in a public place like that. But if this is a problem where hordes of children are running in from the local jumpy house, it's a different situation, and so they may be dealing with a real issue they have to get in front of.
I didn't know this from Chris.
Shocking that I'm actually defending Chick-fil-A.
You don't need that homophobic chicken. It's fine. But I'm just bringing them up because they're extremely popular. Chris says neighborhood Del Taco banned high school kids, I'm assuming, from entering the dining room 20 years ago. There is a Starbucks by my kids' middle school, actually in between the elementary school and the middle school. And they've at times shut down early because it's just, 3:00 hits and it's a mob of kids. And, on one hand, I know my son is totally respectful. He's not one of these kids. And I know my daughter, she's gone in there and she's like, these kids are nuts. They throw trash everywhere. They're disrespectful. The other thing that I always tell them is don't go into a business and ask for water. They're not putting up with your BS to not make any money on the back end. So if you're going to go to Starbucks or you're going to go to whatever fast food restaurant, order food because at least it makes it worth it.
Now, see, if Starbucks banned kids from coming in Petaluma, they would still let Julia in because she knows all the baristas. It's her favorite place. She goes in, she has her own little Starbucks app on her phone.
Look at you. Yeah. You're raising a good one.
Well, I think that's about being respectful to people, over time and building up relationships with people. It's nice when you go into a local business and people know who you are, to have that relationship. Like, how you doing today? They're not a stranger.
Yeah. Okay, so now let's move to McDonald's. Would you consider now with Chick-fil-A, they have this whole religious, association. McDonald's is McDonald's, right? Okay. McDonald's, at least some of them, some McDonald's franchisees are very upset about the partnership the fast food giant has with rappers Cardi B and Offset. Now, you remember during the Super Bowl, one of the ads was, do you know your partner's order? And Cardi B and Offset were on there. And they talked about, the burgers that they get or French fries. I think he gets like the orange soda. So what is it? Oh, I have it right here. It's a classic cheeseburger with barbecue sauce, a large Coke, a quarter pounder with cheese, and a large high-C orange lava burst, and a large order of French fries and apple pie to share. That's the order. So they've created the Cardi B and Offset meal. Some franchisees are saying, I don't want to serve this meal under this kind of promotion. Why? Because they don't like the music. They're offended by the lyrics of some of their songs. Now, do you think, now, of course, these are franchisees. It's not technically McDonald's saying this.
Yeah.
But do you think that's a bit much? I mean,
yes. I feel like you have to do what you have to do and, support with your wallet what you want to support, what have you. But I feel like, unlike the last restaurant we mentioned, the Chick-fil-A, who isn't for everyone, which isn't for everyone, right? Keeps a certain segment of the population out or whatever.
Well, they'll take your money, but they just don't like the LGBT community.
Obviously not welcoming. That McDonald's is such a part of America that it really should be for everyone. You know,
Mhm.
it's kind of should be all inclusive, whether you have the nastiest of nasty rap songs or the
But it's not like
loveliest
they're
of rap
rapping while they're
songs.
handing you the bag, right? It's like
No,
it's just
no,
the food that's
that's
inside the bag that people
silly.
are buying, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah,
Mo says, "Say it all the way, Nikki. They don't like the profanity that is used in the lyrics of their music." Yeah, but
yeah.
at the same time, you're not buying their music. You're
No.
buying the cheeseburger, the quarter pounder, the french fries, the apple pie, the
Okay, so one could make the argument that if you are having a menu with their names on it, that you're inviting the kind of clientele that may, you know, uh, be living that
You know about
lifestyle
black people,
where
Kim? Are you saying they don't want black people inside their McDonald's?
I don't know what they're saying. I don't even know. I can't even defend it. I'm not even trying anymore. I'm done.
Yeah, John writes in, I don't like Cardi B's music, but if they rename Carl's Jr.'s Cardi B's, I'd still eat it. Great comment. Exactly. Like, if you want the food, if you want the combo, I mean, who gives a crap? I think that these franchisees, and I don't know where they are. But like, who cares? If it's bringing people into your McDonald's and you're making money,
Yeah.
why complain?
Why do you have to be so sanctimonious? I don't know.
Like it's really not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
It's not. It's also not good business, and it doesn't make you look good. Okay,
Pretty good square.
You deserve a break today, so come on and GTF away. Please, there you go. All right. So before we end the show, though, I want to talk about another business partnership that's been getting a lot of criticism. Now, when you sent me this, Kim, yesterday on my phone, I was like, worth every freaking penny. And that, of course, is what's being dubbed the bromance between Mark Benioff and my man, Matthew McConaughey. I did not realize this. I mean, I don't think I've been paying that much attention, in all honesty. So apparently Salesforce and Matthew McConaughey are becoming even more entwined. He made a Dreamforce appearance, which I do remember last year. I don't remember the commercial because I didn't pay that much attention to the commercials, but he did a Super Bowl commercial for Salesforce. He shows up at company meetings, kind of with one of these inspiring type of speeches or whatever.
Sure.
And now it's come out that he is being paid what? $10 million a year or something like that from Salesforce.
I thought it was 160 million so far he's collected.
So far, I think it's 100, but I
yeah.
think they've been doing it for a few years. So yeah, the payments are estimated at $160 million. Now, I think that this is making headlines because Salesforce has, of course, been laying people off. I still think it's a little bit apples to oranges, but I think I'm also biased because it's Matthew McConaughey, and anything you put Matthew McConaughey in will get my attention. Do you think that it's a waste of money? They spent $5 million to have Matthew McConaughey in this interstellar Super Bowl ad last year. Apparently, he was in a hot air balloon. He was wearing an astronaut suit.
I remember it. Yeah.
Yeah. $5 million in doing that. Is it tone deaf, or is that just the price of doing business when you have such a big name like Matthew McConaughey?
When you think about the fact that Salesforce just had to lay off a bunch of people.
Right. That's what people are pointing to.
Yeah. Maybe you could say, well, why is this relationship with Matthew McConaughey so much more important than keeping your staff, working and employed? And maybe could Matthew take a little less so people could still have a job?
Oh, how dare you?
I'm so sorry.
Dare you criticize him? He's just collecting a paycheck. How dare you? Yeah, no, he's paid $10 million a year to serve as creative advisor and TV consultant.
I mean, don't you think that should have been the first layoff?
But I mean, what ROI are you going to get back? I mean, you have Matthew McConaughey. No, I don't know. I do feel for the people that were laid off, and I kind of lean that way. I started this off by saying I was biased. But I mean, again, when Matthew McConaughey is in something, it brings attention to your company. Yes? No? Yes. Hands down, people are paying attention to Salesforce when Matthew McConaughey is there than when he's not. So if you want attention, if you want big name investors to come to your meeting to hear about the latest Salesforce, whatever the heck, I'd much rather hear from Matthew McConaughey than I don't know, Charlotte down the hall. I don't know. I mean, it's a marketing ploy. It's Matthew McConaughey. Of course it is. Most of the Salesforce age demographics makes it so they must lay off many people. The different markets at different intervals. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I always bet on Matthew McConaughey. I do. Kim, it's a waste of money because businesses that use Salesforce products are going to use Salesforce products. Matthew McConaughey or not, I don't know if that's true. That's a huge assumption. Maybe they do buy them because Matthew McConaughey is there. Maybe they learn about Salesforce because Matthew McConaughey is there.
Right.
Maybe I'm just speaking like this because I adore Matthew McConaughey. I think that might actually be more true than anything else. But let's give a big round of applause, though, to everybody that has been donating and been so generous during this, our 100th show. Oh, my goodness. Janet R., $100. I made it back from lunch before the end of the show to donate for the 100th show. I love you both. Yay! Thank you, thank you, thank you. You guys are absolutely the best. I'm going to lay it out again. I love it. Pamela with a $50 super sticker.
Yeah.
And a big kiss from me. Harry with the $50. Congrats on 100 shows. Celebrate with a few Medoro mules.
Yeah.
I'm just going to lay them out. $10 from Wes. I love you guys. Andreas, you've been so generous throughout the show and throughout us hosting the show since the very beginning. Andreas, $50. Another $50. Luis with $10. Happy 100th show. Mary with the $10 super sticker. I appreciate and love you, Mary.
Yeah.
Ken, $10 from you as well. I love your show. Well, I love you, my man. Smonley with the $10 super sticker. I love it. 1117.
Yeah.
$100.
Oh,
big
wow.
thank you. You
Yeah.
guys are great. You are great. 11. Thank you. And thank you guys, honestly, in the comments that always participate in the show. You make it. Jay Siller with a $5 and a thumbs up for the 100th show. More for Andreas. $10. A $10 from Andreas and a don't worry for Trump. I'm sorry, Andreas. I'm still a bit worried. $5 from Wes and a super sticker there. Lisa with a $20 super sticker. Lori above the bar.
Yep.
With a $48.53 donation from Daniel Dresser in lieu of Medoro Mules that you can get at the Red Jack Saloon. Another $20 from Andreas. He was the backup to Steve, and he has been. Thank you. Daddy Chi with $2. Congratulations as well. And aloha from Maui from Walter. Love it.
Nope.
Rick.
No, Maui no ka'oi.
Oh, there you go. What she said. Rick with the $20. Yowza with the $10. We will keep up the great work. Thank you. Lee with $20. Jim with 10. Colors with 10. Batmit with 20. And then Andreas, so generous, $100 and another 20 and another 10.
Yeah.
We love you guys. We cannot literally do it without you. And until tomorrow, thank you so much.
Nikki, you're all so awesome. Miss Brown, like a beautiful blossom. You're also the best. I really can't rest. You're all so awesome.
Wow. Okay.